Okay, and so for part three, we're just going to go back to just back a bit before we've been talking about now. Um, you've been giving Odds Checker a bit of a slating, but you were like the forerunner to it, weren't you?
Almost to a degree, yeah. I was still working at the time, so 1999. I was still doing my job.
What
The
was your job,
internet.
by the way?
I was a sales rep.
Okay,
Not a very good one. I was too nice to people.
too honest.
Too honest, yeah. Um, so thought, well, this internet thing that's just started. I think there was two bookmakers, Bet365 and Blue Square were the only ones on, and it was like, oh, this could take off. It's quite interesting. So I'd bet at the time on golf. So I set up my first ever website. Was in summer of '99. Was called Best Priced Odds. I wish I'd kept the name because it's probably worth a fortune now. And all it was actually handwriting or hand putting in all of the odds for golf tournaments. You have 140 golfers, two golf tournaments a week. I would sit down on a Monday afternoon, do an odds grid, transfer all the stuff from Blue Square and Bet365 onto it, and then I'd have every single bookmaker that was advertising on CFAX. So my mates would sit in the room and call the odds out, and I would manually be putting them in, and that's how I started the first ever website. Absolute madness, but there was no computer systems to do it, and it had to be done that way, and that's how I first started.
I mean, what sort of traffic were you getting on it back then?
Not a huge amount, I must admit, but it was something new, and it built very quickly actually. And then all the other bookmakers went on, and all the affiliate deals came on, and that's how I started. Basically, I was still tipping, not really tipping, sort of not charging for tipping, but betting. The money was coming through the affiliate stuff, and then I was fortunate enough to make one phone call one day. I don't know if he's still around. A guy called Robert Dunn. He was the SP returner in the Northern Tracks, and his favourite hobby was golf. And he produced these sheets for golf. You get faxed every day, or every week rather, called Tiger Teas. Some people might remember them from 25 years ago. And he basically sent you fact sheets of current form of golfers, roughly what his price would be, because this was his passion. And it was just basically the form guide. You got the Elliott's golf guides, which had started maybe 92, I think. But they were sort of an annual thing. You didn't know, there was no weekly sheet. So Robert did these. And I remember making a phone call to him one day saying, we could sell these, via the website if you like. And he went, well, I'm already selling them through a marketing company. And he said, I've also come up with this other idea that all these bookmakers coming on the internet, they've got no idea what each other is doing. And he said, I've been looking at arbitrage betting. And I went, okay. So we started looking at it, and we decided to sell this service to this marketing company. And we wrote the first book. So if anybody's got a book on arbitrage betting written by a guy called Jeff Matthews, Jeff never existed. That was myself and this other guy, Robert. And we ran that service for about 2 years, and it was just manually finding our bets, and they were just coming out the woodwork. I mean, you could bet on a tennis tournament, you get 6-5 each of the two, or a tennis match, and it was just easy. Bookmakers didn't care. They just wanted new clients on this new thing. Didn't matter if they were losing money. They were just trying to get you on board.
And you were open yourselves with those types of arbs.
I was originally, and then it was just easier just to find them, and we were just selling them on to this company, and they were selling them to the clients, and it was stupid money.
So, talk back to the current sort of day. I mean, you sort of talked about it a bit in the first few parts, but how difficult is it for somebody like you to get on? Is that, what sort of figures are we talking about?
Me, I won't say exactly which bookmakers I've got. I've got maybe 3 or 4 that I can still use. They sort of use me as a mark, I suppose, and on the French racing.
Do they do that officially, or do you just assume that they
I
are?
just assume that they do, because if I ever bet, they cut the odds, but they haven't. The last few that I've got remaining have allowed me to do it for the last 4 years, so I'm assuming they're happy. I don't know. So yeah, how much can I get on? To win on a race, maybe 500 quid if I'm lucky. Depends on the odds as well. So if I'm backing a 20-1 shot to take out, 20 quid each way, and that's it. Hence, I started up the tipping thing. So I don't bet myself until I've sent those bets out. Try and let everybody else get on if they can, because I know when I have a go that the odds are going to crash a bit.
All right. So do you employ like a staking system?
I do. Not a staking system as such. I price up a horse race to 100%. And the only time I bet is when a bookmaker's price is bigger than me. So they're early betting on the French is about 130%. So if I'm betting to 100 and their price is bigger than mine, then that's when I go in. The bigger the difference, the bigger the bet. But my staking maximum bet for any clients would be £100 each way or £200 win. And usually they're more likely to be around the £20-25 each way to £30 each way to £50-60 wins. Those are the vast majority of bets. They're not huge. Like I said, I'm never going to make anyone really, really rich.
No, but so they're not huge bets, and by most people's standards, they'd be fair bets.
Yeah. Well, otherwise, there's no point in.
But you did mention in the first part that you've had quite a bad run.
Yep.
So
Well, not a bad run, not making money, not losing money.
But you had an unfortunate few runners up and stuff.
Yeah.
That, had they won, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
So what percentage would you advise your clients, or even indeed yourself? Do you have a tank or a bank of money that you use just for betting? And if so, how much would you say, a tenth of it, 100th of it, that you would stake to buffer those?
I
those
don't
inevitable bad
personally
runs?
have a. I mean, it might surprise some people, but I don't have a betting tank. I mean, I live on my own. I don't spend an awful lot of money. I live a very frugal life. So it's all part of my income. So I don't have a separate tank. I advise people who join to have basically 10 times the maximum ever stake. So £2,000 betting bank would probably cover you, because I've never really gone. No, I don't think I'd ever gone through a bad patch that I've lost that amount in one go. But I leave it very much up to individual people. Most of the people I know, they're not newcomers to betting. They know pretty much what they're doing.
Okay, now you say you're betting for a living, so you've got to pay the bills.
Yep.
How do you cope mentally? How do you cope mentally and financially when it is going horribly wrong? Because it's bad enough if you're following somebody that's going horribly wrong, but if you're the person that's actually going to pick the winners,
Yep.
I imagine that the sleepless nights must be even worse. So, are you confident enough to think this will be all right, or what do you do if it is getting on top?
Confident enough that it's worked for 25 years, although I keep changing. So I'm always looking for something new. The French racing might not last forever. I don't know. So you're always keeping your eye out for things that are new. As far as mentally, it's don't chase. Never ever chase. Turn the laptop off and go out. I live in a lovely little village with a wonderful little pub. So my time away is going up and chatting to friends, because I work from home, work on my own. It's getting out. Mentally, it's very important to go out. I mean, I walk for an hour and a half every single day, because you can't just sit here and do it. And the more you sit there, if you're having a bad run, the harder it is. I mean, you need to go and switch it off and get away from it, and then come back. And sometimes you'll come back and right, start again, another day, another week.
Is there? Do you think there's going to be a point where, with all the computerization and the bookmakers all, like I say, working in unison when it comes to changing prices, etc., that there will be no juice left?
It is a fear that one day it might well be happen. For now, I don't think there is. Yeah, but it is a worry that all the bookmakers are becoming, well, 2 or 3 big companies. It could well happen. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Okay, now you specialised fairly quickly in French jump racing. So if you saw that, all right, this is becoming untenable now, there's other stuff that you haven't sort of, would you sort of look at French flat racing
Yeah.
or, German or whatever,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'd start looking at other things. I mean, a lot of companies bet on racing from all over the world, very different places. Whether I could get on or not is another matter, but it's something I'll definitely look at. And probably sooner rather than later. I don't know. It's at the moment the French racing is fine, the jumps racing, but I've never really turned my hand to flat. Perhaps it's something I should pick up.
And but just talking through, I mean, what you've managed to make money out of betting, you sort of have had the ability to adapt fairly quickly and to spot the value. But how do you think you've managed to do that?
I said earlier, it's like thinking outside the box. So many people. It's like Newton Abbott last week was there racing. I think a couple of favourites won. The cheers going up from the crowd was enormous as the favourites win. That's not my way of betting. I would be the one that would be quiet. It's I don't tend to back favourites very often. I tend to look for longer price things. Why are they longer prices? And I think there's always more of an edge betting at a bigger price than favourites, to be honest. Just my personal opinion, the way my brain works, I suppose.
Okay, we've talked about the fact you do run an advisory or a tipping, whatever you want to call it, service. You're obviously not somebody that screams it from the rooftops, putting big eyes up on Twitter and stuff like that every day. But if anybody was interested, what do you go under? What's your handle, if you like?
SBI.com. I'm sure you'll put it up in the interviews. Back in the day, you couldn't have a really long. So my website is sportsbettingindex.com. I've been running that for 24 years now, but it's changed all the way through the time. It used to be a massive affiliate thing. Had bookmaker reviews. I used to write a daily blog. I used to have the tipping stuff on there. Everything used to be on there. But in the end, I just ran out of time and it didn't get the traffic through. The affiliate deals died, basically. You can't compete with the big guys. I can't compete with the likes of Oddschecker or Punter's Forum or all the big forums. So say someone like, I think it was Victor Chandra or something came on and I had an affiliate deal with them, and they usually say they'll pay you a percentage of losses, or it used to be back in the day a fee for introducing a new client. Then they changed what's it called?
Yeah, they changed
the rules to suit them.
Yeah.
So they would suddenly go, oh, you need to give us 5 new clients every month, otherwise you're not getting paid. I couldn't, for the traffic that I was getting, to give 5 new clients to one bookmaker every single month was just impossible. So it died, and the affiliate side of it died. So now the website is purely a blog that sometimes I'll go months without writing anything on it. But
okay, and obviously, if you are giving if you're a genuine tipping service, your affiliates aren't worth anything anyway, are they? If they're
Not
only
really, no.
they're only backing your selections. So you say you've been doing it for 25 years. You've been successful. You're finding it harder. Is there an exit strategy for you? Are you going to be found one day dead over your laptop, age 80 or 90?
There is no exit. I mean, I'm 57. I've got 10 years before I can get my pension. Hopefully this will keep me going for another 10 years, and then I'll keep doing it anyway as a hobby. My dad gave me a good work ethic. He is 89, wasn't it? 89 last month. He retired this year.
Okay.
He was only working 1 or 2 days a week as a sales rep, but he was still doing it because he loved what he did. So I won't retire when I'm 67. I'll keep going. It brings the money in. It probably still will be. And the most important thing, it will keep my brain active.
Brilliant. Well, Ian Richards, thank you very much.
Thank you.